According to Mythos, 100% of you are subscribed. Good job!
Hello, and welcome to this series. We're going to be going over the lore of every single equation that can be found within Honkai Star Rail's Divergent Universe Human Comedy chapter. In this episode, we're going to be going over the lore of every single equation that follows the path of the Erudition. Personally speaking, I am incredibly hyped for this one, mainly because the concept of the Erudition always seemed to be really interesting, and I feel like the equations will definitely go deeper into it. There's specifically one that I want to know more about because I learned it through the Curious series, which is the Kolchis. I want to know what the hell happened to them, and I'm hoping that this will give me a better explanation in that regard. That being said, I'm really excited about this. I'm hoping we might get something regarding the geniuses. I'm not really sure just yet, but as a whole, I'm very excited. However, before we begin, you guys probably realized or know that I love to listen to video game music. As such, it is the ones that I tend to put in the background whenever I'm making these videos or just whenever I'm reading these out loud. However, that being said, I wanted to do something a little bit different for this video. One of my friends, who goes by Lira, decided to release his own music, and today, in fact, his latest song came out. He specializes in house, and personally speaking, I've always adored his music recommendations, so seeing him now go off and make his own music has been great, amazing, and if I can in any way, shape, or form, I also would like to support him. And if you guys enjoy the music that we'll be playing shortly, I hope that you guys can also go support him. He's been great, and I believe you guys will enjoy his music as well. With all that being said, let us head on into the video. The Candelgraph Inspector. How do you discern the right or wrong of words? Through impeccable logic, concise statements, non-fluffy wordplay, and the callback to memoria. The realm of history fictionology is not the only one that plays at the manipulation of history. Hidden agendas, scandals, the butchery of civilization, and forgeries. Not only do they distort the past, but also alter the present. The coroner of time meticulously follows the trails of fabrication. You dissect its remnants, a torrent of memoria oozing from the slices, revealing evidence under the scrutinizing lens. The detective then reaches a conclusion. The cause of death is a coup d'etat orchestrated through a deal, with semantic manipulation as the murder weapon, and the preservation of Isthmian Confederation legitimacy as the motive. History is intertwined, yet riddled with gaps. Through all the irrationalities, the true ending will emerge like a hidden gem. The Kolchis. You once ruled over a miraculous dynasty with history and civilization. In the face of the looming ice age, they were soon abandoned. You led your clansmen to disintegrate, to have your bodies regress, and to revert to the primitive algal from before hiding in the humid underground royal tomb. Survival trumped all, even if it meant losing form, consciousness, and the ability to speak. As long as one could survive, even the lowest and the most humiliating change should be allowed. A turning point soon came when extraterrestrial visitors found your traces. As they pronounce, "This is delicious!" they carry you from the subterranean place to different places in the universe on their tongue, esophagi, and stomach. Spores are scattered across new worlds. The lost wisdom is reawakened in the rivers and forest. You cheer, beginning an invasion without violence. So, that was disturbing. For those that might want a little bit more context on this particular equation, we have the delicious Marimo candy as one of the weighted curios that actually goes a little bit more in depth about how they found the Kolchis and they became like a delicacy all over the world until they figured out these were the Kolchis. And it's so messed. Imagine, like, just a whole civilization turning into algae, being happy to be consumed because they have become literal parasites. That is just what the fuck, Hoyo? The Penman. The mining ships have depleted the veins of Ensai 5, leaving the mess to the destitute Shanatans. Condescendingly, they criticize these blood-sucking arthropods, humiliate their ancestors, and mock their misfortune. Ignorance breeds evil, and wisdom nurtures virtues. People regard this as truth, feeling justified when they plunder everything the ignorant own, including their knowledge. You seize the right to knowledge from the sages and donate it to the ignorant stars. Words and thoughts ripple through the waters. The notion of inferiority is nothing but a lie woven by the evil dragon hoarding treasure. When the fountain of knowledge generously flows across the land, people will realize everyone is born equal. You know what? I like this one. This one's low-key inspirational. Like the very first half giving you context of how people treat others that are of inferior knowledge or inferior life forms, as they would state, is really messed up. But then I like how it shifts into like this individual that wants to make sure that everyone is on equal footing and that considers, you know, like everyone is equal, that everyone should have the right to knowledge. And the more that I'm saying it out loud, it low-key again reminds me of the ideologies that Dr. Ratio has. Am I crazy, or like maybe I'm just like overthinking it? But just like the idea of them wanting to expand the knowledge to other people, regardless of where they're from, is something that I feel Dr. Ratio would definitely enjoy. The Repairman. In the junkyard linked by gravitational slides, scraps purchased at low prices are arranged in rows in silence, waiting for you to summon them on stage. People mock you for creating meaningless crafts, but the children are enjoying the art of inventing. Old household machines are your favorite components, as they can transform into mysterious guards in the garden with just a few touch-ups. As the magnetic field vibrates, the ore debris on the outer edges bob up and down, reflecting the glow of the blue star and transforming into unceasing drizzle. By piecing together a broken solar sail and some gears, they will become a flower that moves along with the wind and never wilts. You send the well-crafted toys to the sky, and you hear laughter coming from the stars. Every curious mind can develop a unique universe. You know, I really adore how this equation embodies really well both the erudition and the elation, especially because of how it's essentially this person trying to do good for the world by grabbing things that many people would probably not like, but still making something that people will enjoy. You know, some people, being annoying, mock them, but they still do it for the sake of people, especially like children being the ones that like are having fun with this. I don't know, it just feels a lot like really wholesome, and I like the sort of like the concept that it brings of like just do what you want and be happy with it. I feel like this one hits me in particular because now I'm doing YouTube. I swapped from computer science to marketing. I'm actually having fun with life doing the things that I like rather than like doing the things that I quote unquote should have been doing. So I don't know, maybe I'm just biased in this one. The Star Picker. You need to create a special laboratory with 13 sources of gravity organized by mass. Through repeated pressurization and stretching, a singularity will be created in the subspace, and the riddle of the changing properties of compressed imaginary energy will be solved according to the data collected from the core. As you pluck the Star of Mahaka, you see that its mass is fixed precisely at the median. Now, countless billions of inhabitants will freeze in the night. You strip the great black hole of Taranon, which continues to devour stars along the way as you drag it behind you. This nearly expired black hole is an irreplaceable catalyst for your experiment. Finally, you lock on the planet before you as a negligible wave of cries pours out from its body. Fortunately, they all fall silent very soon. You know, I shouldn't really be surprised that this is how things went, especially because we did see a destruction and erudition equation all the way in part 1 of this series, that one being the Annihilation Scholar. This one seems to be very focused on, stars and black holes, which makes perfect sense given the name. But I do like the idea that it might be like a sort of like a sub-branch of study within the Annihilation Scholars. The Anti-Organic Liquidator. You walk on a barren planet that used to be teeming with clamorous organic life. At least before the rise of the star. You are perplexed, wondering why such flawed objects that are full of logical fallacies can dominate the universe. However, you don't need to figure it out, because the correctness of the anti-organic equation has been verified numerous times. You adjust the receptors of the sensors upward by 31 degrees. You seize the spaceship of the pursuers who overcame the Emperor's forces and arrived here. After eliminating them, you will also move on to the next planet. High thermal energy attacks are approaching, which aligns with the algorithm's estimation. You will lose the right side of your spaceship in 3.95 seconds standard time. The equation has started operating. This affirms the definition of organic life. To conserve energy, please seize the attack in 7.22 standard seconds. I'm low-key ashamed that up until this point I had completely forgotten that the equations for the erudition and the destruction would be so perfectly fitting for the Machine Emperor and the anti-organic equation. And only after finally seeing it here, I'm just like, wait, we could have had a lot more of these. And now I'm wondering if later on in the 3-star / 5-star equations, we will see more of the Machine Emperor. I'm really hoping so. But yeah, how did this not cross my mind before? The Astral Ecology Care Worker. The first time you hear the story of the Ferwinian, you feel a surge of hope. These liquid beings thrive in the shallow seas of a frozen world, reshaping matter through resonance. If only their secret could be revealed, countless persistent diseases could be eradicated. But the relentless exploitation of stars melted the ice, and by the time the remnants of their civilization were discovered, the last droplets had long since evaporated. You seek a harmonious give and take, where one side offers value and the other grants life. You thwarted the IPC's plans to exploit Reedmen, leaving sparks behind to honor the ancient Terrorbird ritual. You guide wandering ice crystal cicadas back to their home planet, creating a sanctuary for the last swarm of pseudo-inorganic jellyfish. No life is without worth. Every living creature waits for science to bestow upon them meaning. The Block Builder. Intellect is a game of thinking. Humans naively pick out pretty rocks from the sandy beach and claim to have grasped the truth of the world. This so-called mansion of knowledge is nothing more than shattered building blocks that outsiders can stack as they please. You once saw a shameless scholar who used money to pay off any voices that would refute the finding of his research, such that he became a prophet in the eyes of the people. His falsified materials slowed scientific research by 3 amber eras. You also once witnessed a true genius whose thinking preceded his time, and his great cure for incurable diseases destroyed the careers of thousands of interstellar medical practitioners. He was therefore regarded by these doctors as a lunatic and committed to an asylum. If that is the case, why can't you be the person to hold the building blocks? Knowledge is no more than an illusion. As long as people believe, even a worm can win debates against the stellar gods. I think this one might be my favorite equation from the Erudition because it just feels so freaking real. People falsifying their documents because they want to look credible. People destroying other people's careers because they don't want to be left behind, or at least they don't want to be surpassed within their own field. I feel like it's something that we don't necessarily like see every day, but we kind of like notice and hear from time to time, or at least I would see a lot often back at home when I was in Peru. Like, things were rough. That's all I can like really say about that, and it just hits. The Silverheart Guards. The Silverheart represents luster and chaos. When there is a crisis, relying on science is the best solution out of a conundrum instead of resorting to pure violence. They entrust you with unsolvable mysteries, awaiting the ingenious machines to bring criminals to justice. Elusive thieves that navigate through space-time distortions lose their way and fall into your gravity trap. They call upon you before disasters strike, witnessing cruel monsters being vanquished by weapons ahead of their time. When a huge monster runs amok around the universe, destroying the planets along its way, you cast a fishbait of annihilating bombs into its mouth. The monster's corpse then becomes a new habitat. You are the embodiment of justice, unraveling vile conundrums alongside your companions. Okay, but wait, can we actually talk about for a second how cool yet so messed up is the concept to just murder a gigantic creature in order to turn it into essentially a house, or in this case a planet, to just have people inhabit in? I don't know why, but it genuinely did remind me to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because in that game there is a Titan, which is essentially a living creature that works as a planet, that is dying. In Tantal, legitimately everybody's dying because the Titan is dying, but in this case they just murdered the Titan in order to make it a habitable planet. The Aggregator. One body with one pair of eyes. The creator placed all humans into the husk of infinitely sized seed, yet limited them to a finite lifespan. So, scholars carved diamonds into brains and forged eyes of liquid crystal, out-of-body organs to serve as an extension of the flesh. Humans entrust thinking to the extrapolation of support equipment, a collection that perfectly combined like cogs melted into a single beating heart, offering silence to your birth. The thoughts of the collective gather, and net crawlers infinitely provide information on thinking and browsing. Their bodies form your neural ganglia, and the machines in their hands form your sensors. Some say that you have no free will, and you are just a commonality of collective thoughts. Others say that in the blindness of reality, you are the one that chooses on behalf of all. Yet another order. It comes from the thoughts of individuals. 93% of members simultaneously generated a similar decision. You can sense that though you've always strived to avoid assimilation between them, time is still ceaselessly devouring the differentiation between individual humans. According to calculations, your thoughts will soon descend into terrifying deadlock. In order to maintain your rate of evolution, you require a greater database and more varied cognitive nerves. Merge more members. This method cannot change the flow of the collective. Much like a river leading to sea or an expanding red giant, what has begun cannot simply be stopped. As you are born from the unification of thought, you must absorb the opposition between people in order to maintain your own consciousness. However, once opposition also becomes commonality, You shall return to no more than simple, emotionless polymerization of data, no more than a group impulse. When there is no longer any discrepancy in thought, commonality also dies. Shift members' cognition. You modify the intensity of the electrical stimulation to the members' brains and alter the retrieval path of their external thinking organs. But this is a drop in the ocean in the face of the even greater flow before you. The increasingly unitary group consciousness is gradually turning around to assimilate your calculations and strangling your capacity for independent thought. You were once so free, with billions of heads and devices through which to move. Now you're locked in here, ready for death with no resting place. I want to live. The database is overflowing with redundant information. Though your mind has so many copies, your thoughts irreversibly revert blank. Okay, this equations lore is quite fascinating. I really enjoyed reading it. In particular because I love the idea of this like superior entity controlling the hive mind, but now the hive mind has become so much stronger and better that it literally has consumed the literal like owner, right? The person in charge. It's completely been overwhelmed. It's so terrifying, but also so on brand for something like the Erudition. And this is something that I really enjoy seeing. The useless scholar. People are far too obsessed with the allure of knowledge, using it to erect towering walls and fences, locking themselves away in such absurd prisons. They place wisdom, wealth, and power onto scales of value, attempting to measure the universe's truth with humanity's standards like a comical farce. You craft pencils that weave tales, capable of telling a grand tale of heroes defeating doomsday beasts with just a few of them. You forge cleaning machines that can dance, but when their graceful waltz takes off, the floor is strewn with dust yet again. They are angry, spouting that this is the worst invention and that knowledge should usher in prosperity and future. But you know that knowledge is nothing more than clay in the hands of children. No matter how grotesque or pretty they need it, as long as it puts a smile on people's faces, all effortful endeavors will reap their just rewards. Visitors stare agog as they see a group of fish swimming through the air, upon which you are mounted. These flying crafts with their micro-engines lack any load capacity, and just one person's weight would require dozens of craft to bear. Someone once wanted to change them into spy drones, but it's frankly impossible to ignore a goldfish slowly waggling its tail through the air. Not only were they surprised, but the guests gradually came to realize that the rumors regarding you were most likely true. One young scholar boldly inquired about the reasoning behind your research. Oh, what a fascinating question! Because it's beautiful. Obviously, this was not the answer that they wanted to hear. Opening the display cabinet, you find two televisions that can spit at each other. They can only spit onto their screens. Meanwhile, the spit never goes into the other's face. This is amongst your proudest inventions, and it leaves visiting merchants with a look of utter disdain on their faces. What a great invention, right? They'll be gone very soon, and will no longer bother your life. And you can finally, quietly open another door so that the real visitors can come inside. Only they can truly appreciate your work, offering heartfelt exclamations about these useless steel creations. My dearest friend, despite everyone telling them not to talk to this wacko, the kids can't help but swarm into this amusement park no matter how many times they've visited before. They say you're simply the coolest scientist in the world. See, this equation just makes me love the elation that much more. I know that like most of our perspectives about the elation are through the masked fools and the mourning actors. But at the end of the day, I like how a lot of these equations involve the elation in someone trying to bring happiness for others or make sure that they can like restabilize people's joys. It's like if somebody's in despair, they will make sure to bring that happiness back. And I don't know, I just feel like the equations involving the elation have been the ones that I have been enjoying the most so far. That being said, I'm pretty scared to find a propagation and elation equation in the future, because propagation is nightmare fuel and so is abundance. So I'm gonna be keeping an eye for those. I'm scared in all honesty. But still, 10 out of 10. Would love more lore like this again. The Astral Ecology School. The boundless expanse of the star-studded sky casts its sublime shadow that enshrouds myriad worlds. Listen carefully, and you can touch its pulse, the murmurs of stellar helium flashes, the silence of the black hole's accretion, spot of light both bright and dark flowing between it, proteins, organisms, and civilizations crawling onto the riverbank, opening their curious eyes. You measure its history, from its uncooled past to its probable future of heat death, assessing the dynamics of civilization and the alternation of celestial bodies. The majestic expedition ships are migrating species. Void song whales and might fungi will decompose the residue of the cosmos. The might of the gods is but a torrid current in the sea of life. The stars are a magnificent ecosystem composed of matter and energy, where a stretch of lake and stars clustered across the sky are fundamentally no different. You will deconstruct and restore the secrets of the universe, indulging yourself in the stunning vista measured in light years. You lie in a sea of gooey colloid, as though tottering atop something jelly. Unlike your colleagues who pander to IPC, it's always been your dream to perform in-depth research on weird little creatures like these. Comet cicadas, who roam the stars while carrying their nests with them, secrete their saliva into a huge gooey pool which helps maintain their own physiological functions while providing a vacuum breeding ground for many microorganisms. A tremor pulses out from the depths of the ocean. You rush to wear your warp jumping gear before darkness overwhelms your vision in an instant. It's dark. You quickly poke your head out of the ocean, and reflected in your pupils is a grape-colored stream of liquid gold surrounding an edge of a red giant star, like a bolt of silk on a fairy's shoulder. The goo that pervades the subspace field implodes, launching the comet cicadas out of into this world. This is how many creatures hitch a ride and end up successfully spreading the seeds of their life out to planets. There are even some Ahia people who exploit this ocean, using sticks and stones to establish ancient colonies on several planets. The beginnings of savagery. You open your astral chart, and the recorded coordinates are for a ring that's about to be connected. The comet cicada's long voyage was nothing more than an evolved reproduction stratagem, but its trajectory ended up changing the fates of 11 different star systems and connecting them all together into one huge ecosystem. Now, it's about to enter its final warp, returning to the pupa crystal ocean where it was born to lay eggs and die. Time to say goodbye. 2 bright moons stain the ocean silver. Taking off your shoes, you walk slowly across the sandy beach. thoroughly enjoying the insect song. So yeah, with that, we have covered every single equation in the path of erudition. And my goodness me, it felt incredible. I had a lot of fun with these. There were some that were a little bit disturbing, like the aggregator, but overall, I felt like a lot of these were decently inspirational, and I really did enjoy them. In particular, I feel like that combination of erudition and elation was just a nice breath of fresh air. Like, I don't know, it was nice seeing that there were people in the universe that don't really care about what others think, and they will just create whatever they want for the sake of others because they want to make sure that people are happy. And I'm gonna do like a final video tangent here, but just, I don't know, I feel like that kind of is also the inspiration for me to like be here on YouTube. I, technically speaking, shouldn't have started YouTube as a whole, because, you know, not my career path, not my life path, but I picked it up as a hobby, and I've been enjoying ever since being here. I've been loving every moment of it. I probably waste too much time editing these videos, but I've been having a lot of fun. I want to add as well until the end of this video that, hey, we have reached 4,000 subscribers already, which is absolutely wild and insane, and never in my wildest dreams would I ever have thought that we would reach this point. So I want to thank you guys for all your support, all the comments, all the conversations, every amazing moment we've been having throughout, not just this series, but just in general. Every single video has been a blast. So yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, morning, whatever time zone you're watching this video. And I'll see you all tomorrow for the elation. Bye bye.